Hello, this is X here. Welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we're going to be starting a new series of mine, how to play Yu-Gi-Oh for beginners. And today we're going to be starting with the absolute basics, going through the different card types of the game, the playmat itself, and of course the life points. Let's go. So at the start of each duel, each player starts with 8,000 life points, and the objective is to reduce the other player's life points to 0. An alternate win condition is if your opponent can no longer draw cards from their deck, then you win the duel. The different ways to inflict damage to your opponent include monster battles, spell and trap card, and by monster effects. So on to the different types of cards you have in Yu-Gi-Oh! To start off, you have the normal monster. For example, I have the Dark Magician. Normal monsters can be summoned either straight to the field or require a tribute of monsters depending on how many stars they have. So if you have a monster under 4 or under stars, you can summon it straight to the field. If it has 5 or 6 stars, it will require 1 tribute, 7 and 8 require 2 tributes, and 9 or above require 3 tributes. All monsters will have also a base attack and base defense points, and it will have no special effects. Next we have effect monsters. Now these are of the same principles as normal monsters, where you can either summon them straight away or they require a tribute using the same amount of monsters tributed before, depending on their star level. Except with these monsters, they have a special effect which can be activated using the terms stated on the card. For this instance, this card is called Jinzo, and when it is on the field, your opponent cannot activate any trap cards. There are other effects such as negating effects, destroying monsters, and preventing your opponent from doing certain actions. So next up is spell cards. There are a variety of different spell cards which we will cover in a later video. The basics of spells, they can be activated straight from your hand on your turn only, and can do a variety of different effects such as take control of your opponent's monster, do damage, destroy opponent's spell and trap cards, and a lot of different effects. What a spell card can do is stated on the spell card text. So next is trap cards. These are different from spell cards as they cannot be activated directly from the hand. They have to be set on the field for 1 turn prior to their activation. So for example, if you set a trap card on your turn, you can activate it at the earliest on your opponent's next draw phase. Trap cards are designed to prevent or counter an opponent's move, such as summoning a monster or activating a spell card. Trap cards are designed to counter these. Next we have fusion monsters. Now these are summoned by combining different monsters together in order to get a more powerful beast. The required monsters are stated on the trap card, which may be, for in this case, 3 of the same monster, which is Blue Eyes White Dragon, or can be a more genuine thing such as two Sheen type monsters. Fusion monsters can be summoned in a number of different ways. The main one being using polymerization, and others just by sending the cards to the graveyard they can be fusion summoned. The type of summon they require is stated on the card. The next type of monster card is ritual cards. Now these can be only special summoned by using the correct ritual. Most ritual monster cards will have their own set ritual spell card. We will learn about ritual spell cards in a further video. These monsters are special summoned using the said ritual card, or you can use a card like Advanced Ritual Art, which allows you to summon a ritual monster from your hand using sacrifices from your main deck. But most of the time you'll activate the ritual spell card, which will then allow you to tribute monsters from your hand or field equal to the star level of the ritual monster. Next up is XYZ summoning. So these cards are classed as having a rank once they enter the field. These are summoned by having 2 or more of the same level monster, overlaying them and then placing that XZ monster from your extra deck onto the top of the other monsters on the field. The amount of monsters you need and the level which are required are stated on the card. Next up is synchro monsters. These are again summoned from the extra deck by sending monsters from your side of the field to the graveyard. Depending on the power of the monster you want to summon, you will send cards equal to its start level from your side of the field in order to summon that card, with at least one of them being a tuner card. Most cards require 1 tuner and 2 or more other cards. And finally, for card types, we have Pendulum Monsters. Now, these are the newest addition to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And act as both a monster and a spell card. So, for example, on the one you are seeing on screen now, it has a monster effect on the bottom and a pendulum effect on the top. So, to use the pendulum effect, you will set this card in your pendulum zone, which I will explain in a minute. And in order to use its monster effect, it must be summoned to the monster zone. And depending on where it is, depends on what effect it has. And it also had the red and blue diamonds, and the number underneath are its pendulum scale number, which we'll explain a bit further on in another video. And it also has, like any others, a attack and defense stat. So now, to finish off this video, we shall look at the Yu-Gi-Oh! Playmat itself. So, at the top left corner, you have the field card zone. This is where you'll play field spell cards. We'll find out about these in another video. So to the right of that is your main monster card zone. This is where you will summon all of your monster cards to the field, either in attack position vertical or in defense position horizontal. And to the right of that we have the graveyard. This is where your destroyed monsters and used spell and trap cards will go. And then beneath the field card zone and the graveyard zone we have the pendulum zones. This is where you will place your pendulum monsters. Depending on what pendulum scale they have, you'll place a 1 on one side, for example, and an 8 on the other. This will allow the monsters between level 1 and level 8 to be pendulum summoned. This will be explained in a further video. Between them, we have the spell and trap card zones. It speaks for itself. This is where you place your spell and trap cards. You can only have 5 spell and trap cards, and of course 5 monster cards on the field at the same time. And just below that we have the extra deck zone. This is where your extra deck goes, which contains all your any fusion monsters, Xyz monsters, and synchro monsters you wish to use. Next to that we have your side deck zone. This is only appropriate when playing in matches at tournaments. This is where you have an extra 15 cards which you can put into the deck as an additional to the others. If you're at a tournament and you want to swap your deck around a little bit, but I say this is mostly only used in tournaments. On the other side, to finish off, we have your deck zone, and there's one more, after that. Deck zone, this is where your main deck will go, and where you will draw from, of course. So your 40 card deck will go there, of course. And then right at the top right, we have the final zone, which is your banish zone. These are cards which have been removed from the game and are no longer allowed to be used. This can be used mainly by card and monster effects, and once they have gone into this zone, they cannot be gotten back or used unless gotten back by a monster or card effect. Okay, so that is it for this tutorial. If you enjoyed, don't forget to punch the like button, leave a comment down below, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. Also, remember to follow me on Twitter, link down below as always. So last thing to say, thank you so much for watching. I've been XKillerX. I shall see you in the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Video.